Little Britney weighs just 100 grams.
She's lost 5 grams since this morning. Britney's weight was less than half the weight of the healthy chicks. It doesn't look good at all.
If we leave her, she won't survive. She's a bag of bones, really.
The team have decided to remove Britney from her parents in a bid to nurse her back to health.
You okay? Yeah.
It is a really hard decision. You know that when you hand rear an animal, there's a risk of it becoming imprinted and thinking it's more of a human than it should be.
They're more likely to be tame. They won't know their natural behaviours, which is not what we want for released birds. Since I've been here, we've never had to take chicks like this and get them back up to weight. Come on. If we have a chance to save a bird by hand rearing it rather than letting it die underneath the parents, then we're going to do it.
Just like children, really, you want to care for them to the utmost.
There we go.
Northern-bald ibis chicks are very precious. They're a critically endangered species, and given that these birds are going out into the wild, yeah, it would be a bitter blow to lose her.
You wish there was more that you could do. Just be well.
In the aviary, it's been 2 weeks since ibis chick Britney was removed from the colony, and she's turned a corner.
Britney's doing really well. It's a massive relief.
You're going to eat for yourself today.
Given the state that she was in and the prognosis that she realistically had, it's a huge relief to see that turn around.
You're going to poo, aren't you? Yeah. It's very rewarding to get through a tough situation and for the chick to come out healthy at the end of it.
By 2007, Irene and Alex had been working together for 3 decades. At 31, half the life expectancy for an African grey parrot, Alex had only begun to tap his potential. And he and Irene continued their nightly routine.
I love you. I love you too.
A ritual developed over their 30 years together.
You know, he'd say, "You be good," and they'd say, "Yes, I'll be good."
You be good.
I'm trying.
Go eat dinner.
I'll see you tomorrow.
I'm gonna go eat dinner. I'll see you tomorrow. I love you.
I love you.
I love you.
But one morning, while Irene was at home quickly catching up on emails, one subject heading stopped her in her tracks.
It just said, "Sad occurrence."
A parrot had died in the night.
I immediately threw on some jeans and started driving in. At some point, I must have called Arlene.
I was just pulling in the parking lot, and she said, "Go in there and tell me it's not Alex." I ran in. I started going hysterical.
All I remember is them handing me this sort of wrapped up little bird.
She was in tears, I was in tears. It was actually the worst day of my life.
There was just this whole intense, overpowering everything. I mean, I can't even describe it.
An autopsy revealed that an arrhythmia had stopped Alex's heart. As in humans, it was near impossible to predict.
This is the closest being in my life. All these years, I couldn't let emotions cloud my ability to scientifically evaluate what he was doing. And now the science part was over. And all those emotions that I had dammed up for 30 years, you know, just came flooding in.
He's really gone. I mean, he's really gone.
Philippine cockatoo Renton has been courting Magenda for just over 6 months, and they appear to still enjoy each other's company.
It's a very tactile relationship, very close. They sit next to each other and they alloprene, which is where they'll use their beak to kind of preen the feathers, normally on the back of the neck. They mate for life and they remain utterly committed to their partner.
But if the wrong pairing is made, the male cockatoo can get violent with their partner.
You often find the case that birds just do not like each other. As a result, there's the risk of aggression. We had a pair and the male in question basically killed the female.
To avoid birds that don't get on being forced together, Chester's keepers have devised an innovative matchmaking scheme.
We designed and built I suppose, for the want of a better word, a dating agency for Philippine cockatoos, where the female would have a pick of all the eligible bachelors that we had on site at the time.
The breeding programme led to the zoo's first successful pairing, and the first ever Philippine cockatoo hatched in a UK zoo.
It took 19 years of my time to achieve, and it's something I was very proud of. I did get into trouble with my wife because I said it was the most important day, including my wedding day and the birth of my first son. But she's married to a zookeeper, so she's understanding.
Back in the 18th century, people would have fun playing tunes from musical boxes to canaries. An experiment along these lines is being carried out today at a laboratory in the University of Nanterre in France, where scientists are trying to understand the language of birds. Birds acquire the language through learning, and it has recently been discovered that they even have dialects.
Aristotle already observed that from one region to another, birds of the same species did not produce exactly the same song. He noted geographical variations, which we refer to today as dialects, in reference to human language. To examine this phenomenon, we cannot place adults, children and babies on an island to see how their language emerges over the course of time, because it would take far too long. But an experiment like that can be done with birds, for example. And that's what we're doing here at Nanterre.
In this experiment, Sébastien de Regnecourt has isolated a colony of zebra finches.
In natural conditions, each male zebra finch produces a different song. But here, in the laboratory, we've managed to train the birds to produce the same song. We proceeded by using playback. The young birds were isolated during their juvenile development stage. We left them to reproduce for several generations to see how their song evolved within the colony, in which all the males sing the same song.
By being exposed to a single song generation after generation, would the males reproduce it ad infinitum, or would they add their own variations to it? The isolation experiment lasted for 1 year and involved 6 generations of birds.
Every single component part of the nest, from the anchor at the branch, he's got to get every single bit of that right.
Flo's nest is far from finished, but he's become distracted by Flo's presence.
Weavers in the wild can reportedly build a nest in as quickly as a day. Flo seems to struggle with this a little bit. He gets very distracted. He's a bit of a flirt, so before the nest's ready, you will have a habit of starting to enter into a display a little bit prematurely, perhaps.
Flo shouldn't be performing a mating display yet, but he seems to think it's worth a try.
When he starts to display to advertise the home that he's built, he's barely got the doormat, really. He's maybe got the foundations, but not much more than that. He's peeking too soon, bless him.
Back in the aviary, Plo, the village weaver, has finally finished his nest.